Good morning. This is Cal Land on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you begin your day.
Interstate 90 between Hartford and Humboldt is back open after a serious crash shut it down for hours. That stretch of interstate is already restricted due to construction. Our KELOLAND news crew was able to capture this video Monday afternoon. At the time, you could see traffic backed up on the interstate.
South Dakota's Highway Patrol is investigating the crash. We reached out for additional information and are waiting to hear back. Stay with us on air and online for updates as they become available. A registered sex offender in Watertown was behind bars this morning, accused of rape and incest involving a child under the age of 13. This arrest comes more than a year after the same man, 62-year-old James Casca, was investigated for similar allegations. Work charges were never filed by the County State's Attorney's Office.
Court documents detailing the probable cause for the new charges are sealed at this time. Casca is being held on a $30,000 cash-only bond and is expected to appear in court again today. Another person has been arrested in connection to federal and state law enforcement's sex trafficking operation during the Sturgis motorcycle rally. 35-year-old Burton Dave Chief Jr. of Rapid City is charged with attempted sexual exploitation of a minor.
Court papers say Chief was contacting who he thought were 13 and 14-year-old girls for sex. Both were undercover agents. If convicted, Chief faces up to 30 years in federal prison.
Now let's get a check of our weather with meteorologist Scott Munt. The warm-up begins today, Scott.
Yeah, we're looking at temperatures today in the 80s to cover eastern KELOLAND, low 90s in central and western South Dakota. As we watch a front move through the area, starting late in the day tomorrow, we'll still warm, but once we get behind that front, expect temperatures to fall for at least one day, and I think that will probably happen just before this weekend. By the time we get into Friday and the weekend, the temperatures will take off again with many locations in the 90s, at least in the 90s. And Brian will have more details on your forecast coming up.
Law enforcement has wrapped up a busy week out west. With hundreds of thousands of visitors, the city of Sturgis temporarily becomes the largest community in the state.
For the rally, the Sturgis Police Department brings in officers from across the United States. And while arrests and enforcement are a big part of what they do, there's an effort to create relationships as well.
Yeah, I'd say majority of the contacts with them, they're always super friendly. They're always apologetic for the violation they do most of the time. So I'd say majority of the time they're very friendly people.
DUIs were down at this year's rally. However, drug arrests were up by nearly 60%. Governor Kristi Noem has ordered all agencies and offices under her control to add language to their contracts so the state legislators know they would be violating the South Dakota Constitution if they do business with state government. The executive order was issued on Friday and comes in the wake of State Senator Jessica Castleberry accepting more than $603,000 in COVID-19 relief payments from state government to her child care business.
Last week, Senator Lee Schoenbach suggested to the legislature's executive board that they develop some sort of guidance for current legislators and future candidates. Capitol News Bureau reporter Bob Mercer has a closer look at the executive order with this story right here on our website now. And it was a big weekend for the Catfish Bay freestyle jump team.
In first place with a score of 84.80 from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
The team took home first place at the Division I National Show Ski Tournament in Indiana. After winning the regional championship in Iowa, Catfish Bay decided to take the team to nationals to try their luck.
They competed against teams from across the country to come out on top. KELOLAND photographer Adam Asmus was part of the winning team. Congratulations all around.
That is a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get one last look at your weather with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right. Well, good weather to being out on the water, that's for sure, as we get into this forecast. Today, it's warmer out there. We've got temperatures into the 80s this afternoon. Sioux Falls area, probably around 82 or 83. But if you head west up here in Rapid, it'll be closer to 90 this afternoon. So taking note of that. Not as cool overnight tonight, and that is going to really lead into tomorrow when we start to add some momentum to this heat. In fact, out in Chamberlain and Pierre, could be 100 tomorrow or awfully close in the late afternoon. I do think Sioux Falls will likely at least peak close to 90, and that southwest wind will really warm us up quickly. So we will have a supply of humidity. We've got a front here moving through, and you'd think we get some storms with that. But the catch is the cap. It's just too warm in the mid-levels for most of South Dakota to get a chance of rain. Now, into Minnesota, that's a different story. There could be storms, maybe around Marshall, probably better shot through Wilmer and over to the Twin Cities and those areas. So dealing with that. That front moves through, and really most of this 10-day cycle, it's hard to find a lot of rain. Obviously, we'll keep an eye on next week and see if this thing breaks down any faster, but it's likely to be a few days of extended heat. Here's a sampling of your heat index. Really, Thursday, not a story. It's going to cool off on Thursday, so we'll remember that. But when you start looking at some numbers Friday, they start to go up a little. They're still not going to make headlines until Saturday. Now, Saturday could easily be a day of heat advisories. If it's not Saturday, pretty likely Sunday. Look at some of those numbers, 105 to 110 on the heat index. It's pretty high. And Monday, Tuesday, it's either going to feel like 100 or the actual air temperature will be close to 100. So that's probably the worst of it. Maybe by Wednesday of next week, we start to break this heat. So I know we get to mid-late August, we can still get these rounds of hot weather, and this is going to be one of those years we'll deal with that. All right, 86 today. Mitchell, your forecast. A lot of sunshine across the board this afternoon. And speaking of sunshine, there's a lot of that in the 7-day and very little mention of rain. It'll likely be at least in the mid to upper 90s Saturday, Sunday, and Monday. Aberdeen, maybe a little cooler, just a little bit, but the same ideas all apply here too. A lot of dry weather, and I would say the cycle of cooling probably kicks in after day 7. Here we could be 100 tomorrow, big close, and then it drops in the upper 80s on Thursday before 100 on Friday. And any of those days during the weekend too still have some possibilities of being warmed up here. So we'll keep an eye on that. Rapid City also, the Black Hills not going to escape the heat. We're going to have plenty of that too in the 7-day. Check us out, more details with the weather online at KETHLELAND.com.